Thanks so much, Mr. Chairman, for your very thoughtful remarks. Thanks for holding the hearing today. You know, I think back 13 years ago, 2010, nearly 2 years after President Obama signed his economic stimulus bill into law, he seemed to be shocked to discover something that every project developer already knew, and that's, he said, quote, "There seems to be no such thing as shovel-ready projects." And that's because it can take almost forever to get a federal permit. In the 13 years since President Obama's comment, things have not really gotten any better. And under the Biden administration, in my opinion, and in many opinions, they've gotten a lot worse. Our federal permitting process moves in slow motion, too often no motion at all. Even if a project makes it through the thicket of red tape, it can expect to face years of costly litigation after the permitting process. The more time it takes, the more money it costs, the more likelihood that a developer is just going to pull the plug and not proceed with the project. That means investments aren't made, it means jobs don't materialize, it means new energy and mineral production just doesn't occur. So late last year, The Economist published this chart, and it shows that for the past several years, more miles of interstate natural gas pipelines have been canceled than have been built. More miles canceled than had been built. And as a country, we become better at canceling than at building. The result is what you'd expect: higher prices, abandoned projects, and stubborn inflation. And it's an absolute disgrace. So last week, Senator Capito and I introduced legislation to expedite the permitting process while preserving environmental safeguards. The House has passed comprehensive permitting reform. Chairman Manchin has also reintroduced his bill from last year, so there is no shortage of ideas. That makes it all the more important to debate these ideas and move legislation through regular order. I'm glad, Mr. Chairman, you're committed to doing that, because we have to get it right. Getting it right means adhering to some fundamental principles. First, the legislation must benefit the entire country, not a narrow range of special interests, favored technologies, or a limited group of projects. Reforms must apply equally to all energy sources, traditional and alternative. Second, it must include enforceable timelines to ensure environmental reviews don't drag on for years. Third, it must place limitations on legal challenges to prevent endless litigation intended to kill projects. And finally, it must stop the executive branch from hijacking the permitting process to advance its own narrow and frequently extreme agenda. No longer should the Biden administration get away with reinterpreting legislative language to frustrate the will of Congress. Our amendments must leave no ambiguity in what the law requires. The bills that Senator Capito and I have introduced last week meet these criteria. My bill, the Spur Permitting of Underdeveloped Resources, the Spur Act, is co-sponsored by every member of this committee on energy that are Republicans. Our bill will revitalize America's energy sector, lower costs for families, reduce our dependency on China and on Russia. It will hold the Secretary of Interior to her legal obligations on oil, natural gas, and coal leasing on federal lands. No longer should this or any other administration be able to deny, defy, and disregard the law. Our bill will ensure access to minerals essential for renewable and for battery technologies. The United States, and Wyoming, my home state in particular, is blessed with large deposits of minerals. Responsible use of these resources enhances our national security. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, our bill will provide companies a more predictable permitting process for pipelines, for liquefied natural gas export facilities, and electric transmission lines. Mr. Chairman, we can't let this opportunity pass without enacting anything less than comprehensive reform. And I believe we can pass bipartisan legislation that unleashes American energy and American mineral production, that creates good-paying jobs, that lowers consumer prices, and it boosts our national security. So today's hearing, Mr. Chairman, is an important step in that direction. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.